Welcome to your meditation practice. My name is Laure, if we haven't met yet, and I am delighted to be your guide today. So this class is called Love Your Feet. That should give you an idea of what we're going to be focusing on as we go through this meditation time. So whether you are taking this class during the winter, whether you are taking it during the summer, it's always a good practice to connect with your feet. When we disconnect from our feet, we also tend to get up in our heads when we don't feel grounded, when we don't anchor ourselves into the earth below us. We can feel like we are carrying our bodies or carrying a weight on our shoulders. And so in this class, I'd like to offer some time to mindfully connect or reconnect with your feet. And if working with your feet or standing, which I will guide you to do at some point, if this isn't comfortable, you can either skip certain sections that don't fit your practice, or you can follow the class focusing on your hands instead of your feet. That works as well for as long as you drive your awareness away from your head. So to begin, you can stay right where you are, where you choose to arrive as you came to this class. And for now, simply look at your feet or your hands if you choose to work with your hands, just the way that they are, with your socks on. Maybe you're wearing slippers, maybe you're wearing shoes, your bare feet, maybe your feet are wrapped into a blanket. Observing your feet as they are. And gradually bringing your awareness into your feet. Sense your feet at the end of your legs, or your hands at the end of your arms. If it helps, you can close your eyes. Fully feeling your feet. And then narrowing that focus, focusing your awareness into your toes. Can you feel your toes at the end of your feet? And how does that feel when you bring your awareness to your toes? How does that feel? Is it a gentle tingling, a vibration, sense of warmth? Is it subtle and fleeting? And then can you narrow your awareness even further into your big toes? Your second toes, maybe even more subtle. And you can stare at them if it helps. You can even touch them if it helps to bring your awareness to your third toes now. Your fourth toes. And your little toes. And we'll now do a little bit of movement. So if you are wearing slippers, shoes, socks, you may want to take that off if it is comfortable, if it isn't too cold at the time that you're doing this practice. And for a moment, simply wiggling your feet. There again, mindfully being present with the movement in your feet. And if you cannot move your toes separately, it's normal. But we can be more grounded through the soles of our feet and all the way through the end of our toes. So if it is comfortable, you can sit down, placing one calf over the other leg. So if you are seated on the ground on a cushion, you may want to extend one leg out and placing the other leg above the first one. If you are on a chair, you may want to ground one foot into the floor and then bring your leg above the other leg if it is comfortable. And then grab that foot that's now kind of hanging in the air with your hand. If it is comfortable, you may want to slide your fingers in between your toes, starting to separate a little bit your toes from one another. And if it's not comfortable, leave it aside. You can simply grab your foot with your hand. This is equally valid. And start to do some small circles with your ankle to begin with. 5 circles in one direction. Slow, deliberate movements, being present in your foot as it moves. And then reversing 5 circles in the other direction. Being absorbed in this experience. You can then point and flex your foot at the level of your ankle. And if any part of this exercise is not comfortable, doesn't feel right, give yourself permission to skip it. Now narrowing to your toes. There again, doing some very gentle pointing and flexing with your toes. And you can hold your toes in your hand. Intertwine your fingers between your toes. Be very mindful of the movement, not to go beyond the point of comfort when it comes to the flexibility of your toes. And there again, maybe you do some very gentle circles with your toes. 5 in one direction, slow, deliberate, mindful movements. Respecting the boundaries, the flexibility of your toes. And then 5 circles in the other direction. And then if you'd like, you can spend some time massaging each one of your toes individually. Get some blood flowing into your toes, but also into the sole of your foot. So you can rub the sole of your foot as well. And when you're ready, you can place your foot back to the ground next to your other foot. Take a moment to bring your awareness into your 2 feet and notice the difference, if any, between the two. The one that we just worked with and the one that we haven't yet. We will then work with the other foot. So there again, place the opposite leg above the leg you've just worked with. And then intertwining your fingers into your toes, or simply grabbing your foot with your hand. Start with some small circles in one direction. 5 in one direction. Deliberate, slow, mindful movements. And then reversing, doing 5 small circles in the other direction. And there as well, pointing, flexing your foot, movement that comes from your ankle, being present in your foot as you move. And then working with your toes, pointing and flexing your toes, respecting the flexibility of your own toes. One side may be different than the other. So be present in your toes as you do the movement so you can stay in that comfort zone that works for you. And then doing some small circles with your toes, 5 in one direction, deliberate, slow, mindful movements. And then 5 circles in the other direction. Ending with a massage of your toes individually, bringing some blood, some energy into the tips of your toes one by one, and also rubbing the sole of your foot, enlivening the whole sole of your foot. And then you can place your foot back on the floor next to the other one. And once more, bring your awareness in your feet. Notice how they feel, one compared to the other. We've worked with both feet now. Notice how they feel now compared to the way they felt at the beginning of the practice. And if it is comfortable, you can now stand up or maybe sit on a chair or your sofa where you can have your feet flat on the ground. And there again, connect with your feet, anchor yourself into the contact with the floor below you. Notice that sensation of your feet against the floor. Try to intentionally increase the surface of contact between your feet and the ground below. Maybe spread your toes, the tips of your toes anchored into the support, into the ground. If it is comfortable, you can maybe shift your upper body over one leg and the other. Flowing from one side to the other. Present in the foot that is most grounded as you flow. Maybe if it is comfortable, do a short meditative walk. You can pace in a circle around your space, being mindful as you walk, noticing each step, the pendulum movement of your feet from heels to toes with every step. Following the contact with the ground as you struck your heel first, then the sole of your foot, the ball of your foot, your toes, before losing contact, starting contact with your opposite foot. Being present in your feet as you walk, grounding yourself in the floor, the earth below you, connecting with the earth, as if you could grow some deep root into the ground with every step. And then when you're ready, you can come back to your seated position. And once again, flow your awareness into your feet. Do they feel any different? Do they feel more alive, lighter, more energized? Is it a little bit easier to connect with them, to move them? And then gently let go of the sensation of your feet. For a moment now, you can close your eyes if you haven't yet, and if it is comfortable for your practice. And let your mind be free. Let it do what it wants to do. Let it find its innate state in this moment. And then gently bring your awareness back to your environment. See the light of your space coming through your closed eyelids if you've closed your eyes. Let this light call onto you as you gently reopen your eyes. Before we wrap up this practice, take a moment to appreciate having come to your meditation practice today, having spent some time reconnecting with your feet. If you'd like to join me in closing class, you can bring your hands to your heart. May you feel grounded through the tips of your toes. Thank you. Thank you for your presence in this class today and for your willingness to practice. And most of all, thank you for your commitment to yourself.